Hey, welcome. My name is John Cameron Johnson. This is going to be the video breakdown of the Pre-Sold Patience Model 2.0. And I'm excited to bring this to you today because this is the compendium, the amalgamation of the years of experience of making mistakes, failures, scar tissue that we have gone through to be able to bring this to you. We believe that this is going to be the practice growth engine for holistic natural wellness in 2025 and beyond. And I'm excited to bring it to you. I'm going to show you how we are launching, growing, and scaling businesses, 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses using this model, and how we're going to be able to do it without the burnout, the headache in 2025. I believe this new system and how we're installing it into businesses is helping them grow. And I can't wait to share how we've been doing it so you can see for yourself. Now, the reason this exists is because if you ever had to justify the value of your care, if you had challenges with patient education and bridging the gap from the point of getting attention to getting them to move forward and enroll, to start, to buy, this is something that is going to change the game because most people think they have a marketing problem. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why that's not the case. Now, let's jump in. Now, the first things first is I'm going to cover these 4 major questions. First, should you trust us? I hope to have that answered by the end, and you're going to be the judge of that ultimately. Second is, do you need this? Is this something you need for your business? Third, can you actually do it? Does it fit within your time, the opportunity cost, time cost, as well as fiscal cost? Does it make sense? And is this something that you think would fit? And then lastly, will this work for you? This is a question a lot of people ask. Does this work for my business model? Will this work for my niche? Will this work for my what I'm doing here? And so I'm excited to bring the answers to those questions. So what you're going to learn by the end of this video is this. First, why most paid ads, so advertising or content, fails to attract the attention you want. So getting off the hamster wheel of content creation or agency hopping from agency to agency to agency. A lot of our clients have been through 6, 7, 10, 12 companies before they land on us and they stay with us. Next, why funnels are dead. What do I mean by this? Why are they not working? Why acquisition isn't the same, or the funnel process isn't the same anymore, and why it's taking longer for people to convert. And then lastly, why the fee-for-service model is broken and why I believe so. And the new model that we install into practices to allow you to stack revenue so you're not starting back at 0 every single month. And so my big promise by the end of today, by the end of this video, is to help you separate from the competition with your advertising, to help you install and show you how we do it with the automated patient education ecosystem that shows you why this is the route you need to go. And lastly, why you need a profitable money model that actually works with the advertising like peanut butter and jelly, so you can actually buy customers, clients, or patients, however you espouse or however you label them, and how you can start your revenue stack so you have more durability in your business and not be so reactive when it comes to the money and acquisition every single month starting back at 0. And the way I've been able to bring this to you is through no sort of like, oh my God, look how great we are. I'm actually going to show you how bad we've been, how many mistakes we made, the scar tissue, the failures, the blunders. And I think in doing so, we'll give you an idea of what it actually takes, the pain that myself and all of our clients and partners have gone through to be able to get the answers. And I'm going to share it with you today so that you can avoid them, so you can save time, energy, and money inside of this process. And ultimately, that way you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, like, is this the right move? I'm going to show you all the stuff we've done that was wrong. And hopefully that will help you. And I'm excited to bring you that. So what is our mission? Our mission at Etho is to create 1 billion years of vitality. Why? We want the good guys to win. If you're watching this video, I assume you're for health and not against it. You are not for the sick care systems that the main business model that they're doing is to manufacture, monetize, and manage disease. And so if that is you, this video is for you. Now, for you to get value from this video, here's a couple things that need to be true. Number one, you have to care about patient results over just money, right? Patients are not ATMs. I've worked with industries that's how they saw patients. I'm not willing to work with those individuals, and I've trained my team on this. Second, you have to be able to solve major health problems. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, please leave the video. It'll be entertaining. You'll have fun with it watching the video. But if you can't actually solve major health problems, there's no way you're going to be able to command the price points that we help our clients charge, number one, and also keep clients long-term. Third, proven expertise. If you don't have proven expertise, which kind of ties back to the previous one, if you actually haven't done it and you don't have proof of it, probably not going to work for you. This system is not going to work. And then lastly, you have to be able to provide true healthcare to the marketplace. If you're not someone who's propagating sick care, then great, this is going to be for you. So let me jump into disclaimers really quick. I like to cover these because ultimately we want to make sure we're covering our butt, staying compliant, and make sure we're not making any false claims, blowing things out of proportion. I want to be able to show you stuff that we can substantiate. So the first things first is that you have to be able to provide a unique experience for this to work for you. If you're someone who's just providing cookie cutter care, you're not providing anything new, you're not providing anything unique, this isn't going to work for you, right? Because you don't need us, right? Wouldn't even make sense to work with us. You can just go work with someone, your run-of-the-mill agency or consultant or other company. You're not going to need what we have to offer. It's just going to be way too expensive. Number two, private brick and mortar or online. So you have to have a business that you own and you can make your own moves. You can call your own shots. And it does not matter if you're online or brick and mortar. We can work with both. Number three is things that are great in business are not easy, right? It does not happen overnight. If you think of all the great businesses you probably even aspire to grow to, it took time. It took, hammering out all the inefficiencies, optimizing things, testing things, failing and trying and learning. But what I've done with this video is I'm going to do my best to shorten that gap, right? Shorten the gap between ideation and realization through power, through generating power in your business by reducing the things you need to focus on. Next, there are no golden bullets. There's a shit ton of lead bullets. There's no such thing. If you're looking for a golden bullet, go somewhere else, get lied to. I'm not going to sit here and present to you something that I'm saying, oh yeah, you do this one thing, boom, your business is going to take off. Not necessarily true. Is it possible? Absolutely. But I'm not going to promise that, right? Typically what we find with our winners is there's a bunch of optimizations they did over time. They tweak this here, tweak that thing over there. And once they've done if you imagine building a wall, you need bricks, right? So you might have some of the bricks, but you also might have holes, and we have to fill in those holes. And it's not just one thing. And I'm going to share with you what that looks like. Next, all the stuff we do is custom work. It works in any niche. Now, a lot of people ask us, have you worked with XYZ type of practitioner before? The way I like to answer that is I've worked with people who have been told by companies that they work with that they're unmarketable, that it's impossible, that what you're offering to the marketplace, there's not a market for it. And to answer your question, if I can solve that problem with some of the innovators that we have that are so far and difficult to market for, that we worked with dozens of companies, if we can solve the problem for them, for an unmarketable business, anything that is not unmarketable, we can absolutely do. So it does not matter what niche you are, because it's based on the principles of consumer psychology and persuasion and how we demonstrate what you do effectively so that person's going to go from attention to monetization. So it does not matter the niche. And lastly, we do not provide Band-Aid solutions. If that's what you're looking for, you go somewhere else. This is definitely not going to be for you. Reason being is because just like you don't provide Band-Aid solutions to your patients and your clients, whatever you label them as, we don't do the same to you. If that's what you're looking for, you wouldn't want those type of patients coming into your practice, into your business. And so why would we do the same thing to you? What we provide is a holistic solution to all the challenges that you might be dealing with when it comes to growth. So with that being said, warning, no amount of great advertising fixes a shitty system and offer. I want to make sure you're clear on that, because we get lumped into the marketing agency. That's not what we are. And I'm going to explain what we are in a second. So with that being said, what results have we provided? What results can you expect? What results have we, helped other people get? So let me jump into that. First things first, I could spend the time going over case studies and spending, 5 to 10 minutes covering that. It's all below this video. Okay, spend the time. If that's really important to you, if you want to see other people's success and see what we've done, go down below, look at the screenshots, look at the case studies, look at the partner experience videos that we put together. These are people who have been with us for a year plus. Some of them have been with us for 3 years. And why I wanted to actually share those is because I talk about the good, bad, and the ugly, not just the highlight reel, not just the sexy screenshots and the amazing things we've done when it comes to revenue or what have you. That's great. But what does matter is that you can understand what happens when shit goes wrong. Because ultimately in business, as you're probably well aware, things don't go always as planned. Most of the time they don't. And so how do we respond to that? How do we pivot? How do we come up with new strategies, new innovations? We're not a one-trick pony. We create an adaptive system, and what we're going to be showing you how we install it so that you can handle the market's sways, the highs and the lows. How do you make it profitable? How do you continue to adjust through that? So I'm going to talk about that in those testimonies in the partner experience videos. And so you can be the judge, right? You can decide whether those are sufficient or not. I'm, once again, not here to convince you other way, one way or the other. You watch those in your own time and decide if they're worthy, if you like them, and if you resonate with them. So who am I? Who is this crazy person talking to you? My name is John Cameron Johnson. Yes, that's my full first name, 2 capital letters. It always throws people off. And I own a company called Etho. Okay, I founded this company about 4 years ago, and I absolutely love this brand. And here's why. Well, I've been growing practices since 2017. I own a company called Five. It was a marketing agency for aesthetic centers, plastic surgery, kind of the non-invasive liposuction, hair removal, tattoo removal, those types of devices. What ended up happening is I did that for 3 years, built a company, built a 7-figure agency, huge overhead, staff, all that good jazz. But I built a prison. I hated the work I was doing because I didn't like the clients I was working with, because the way they saw patients, which you kind of saw how a lot of them think, because I touched on it earlier, which is they saw the patients as ATMs. They didn't really care about the outcomes as much. They just wanted to earn as much money as possible. And they weren't really truly providing, healthcare outcomes that I thought were, I didn't personally value them as much as they did. I'll just put it that way. And so what ended up happening is one of the last clients I got from that company, I was a vendor for a very large conglomerate, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that sold these pieces of equipment. And the last client I got from that company actually was in natural healthcare. And so she used those machines that were typically used for more aesthetics for wellness. And I thought that was really strange. So I started going down the rabbit hole in 2020, late 20, early 2021. And I fell in love with natural healthcare. And so because of that set me down the path of building a full stack consulting agency that we did the front end stuff and the back end stuff. So front end stuff like ad strategy, copywriting, campaign structure, educational video asset build out, building out websites, technology, artificial intelligence, all these things, right? All the front end stuff that gets new people in the door. But we also started building in the back end stuff like patient experience design, in-clinic flow, lead nurturing and call nurturing, training the team, culture, hiring and firing, productizing your healthcare knowledge, as well as transitioning to online or transitioning from insurance to cash. We've done all those things. And so full stack, not just one side. And so what we've done with this, when you get the entire model, we've been able to be directly responsible for $37 million of top line growth that we can attribute, right? That we can track, directly responsible for that. Now, of course, is there indirect? Is that number higher? Sure, fine. But directly responsible for $37 million, I'm pretty proud of that, especially because we've kept the business quite small, because we want to make sure we're growing, not just because growth to grow, but grow because we're great and the market pulling us forward. And I'm sharing this with you because I'm excited, because I think we built something cool. We're on version 9 of our stuff. And so our vision for the world is to eradicate disease for human civilization. Now, this is a big, bold vision. Etho is a phase 1 of 3 process. I'm not going to get into the other 2 phases, but basically what we want to build is a council of the smartest minds in healthcare, so we can build a shift. We can shift the way people think about health, and we shift the way people have access to health, so more and more people can eradicate the disease. Now, the thing is, what John D. Rockefeller set in motion in 1910 with the Flexner Report and what he did there in Big Pharma was he set in motion an engine that allowed sick care to become what it's become. And of course, there is a need for surgery. There's a need for some of those things. Where certain solutions require the synthetic solution. If you get a gunshot wound, you break your leg, sure, that's kind of probably the best option for you. But when it comes to natural problems, chronic illness, autoimmune disease, you need a different solution. You need a natural solution. And so the solution must mirror the problem. And this is what I want to do with you, is I want to make your voice very loud. And I want the right people to come to you, to find you, so they can heal their problem and get out of the sick care model. And so what we've done with this is we've created offers. Now, our offers, really quick, I'm going to break down the top line growth over 12 months. So you can see, yes, I do understand this. You're a business. You need to earn money, and you do need to get a return. So let me go and show you what that looks like, and then we can jump into the training. I'm really excited to jump into that. So we have 3 main offers. One is going to be more for a beginner. Now, to make this clear, this is reporting from this year, 2024. At the time of this recording, from 2024, we have a beginner offer called Lambda. Now, I don't have 12 months of reporting. It's a newer offer. My estimation is that the average top line increase would be about $75,000. I'm doing some conservative estimates just to be careful here. And I don't have a full return for 12 months, but my estimate over 12 months is going to be about $75K. But the other 2 offers I'm going to be sharing with you is Alpha, our Alpha program, which is our bread and butter. The average top line, average top line increase is $417,563 with a 5.89x return. Now, what does that mean? that even losers, the people that came in, did nothing, got $0 in return, or very minimal return comparatively to the people who came in and crushed it and did even more than $417,000. That is the average. Now, our tier up, which I'm kind of pissed that this one didn't hit $1 million, but $994,000 top line increase with a 6.7x return ROI. And so these are our offers. Okay, these are the three things that we offer to the marketplace, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Reason being is because through this time, through all the mistakes and failures and scars, I've developed a growth codex. And our codex that we make our decisions from allow us to understand how do we solve problems. And we're always updating, we're always improving it, we're always making it better. And I'm going to go and share what they are. Okay, so we have 6 power dials, and these 6 power dials, well, they have 6 different functions. Most people, when they come to us, they try to just fix one of them, and that might be what they need, but they think the problem is somewhere else. And unfortunately, when they solve the wrong problem, if you solve the wrong problem, the right problem at the wrong time, it's still the wrong thing. And so let me go and break down these 6 so you can understand. So the first one is offers. So obviously this is going to be exactly what it sounds like. What are you offering to the marketplace? What is it structured like? How do you monetize it? What is how do you collect money? What is being delivered? All that good stuff. And so we cover how to build great offers that the market wants to receive and pay for. Next is conversion. This is basically how do you take attention and convert it into money? How do you take people coming in and ensure that the right process is in place, the structures in your business on the front end are able to convert attention and educate the patient, demonstrate that you're good at what you do, and turn it into money? Next is going to be advertising. Pretty straightforward. How do you make what you have known? How do people get aware of you, whether it be through paid advertising or through content marketing? How do you do that? How do you do it in the most efficient and effective way? Next is experience. How do you design an experience once they've made the commitment to buy? How do you ensure from the moment that they purchase to the time they're completed in their process that experience is noteworthy, is what we call a 7-star experience, so that they want to introduce you to their warm market? Next is going to be team. This is going to be how do we educate the team on skills? How do we improve them? How do we improve the culture? How do you hire and fire? What are the questions you ask? How do you build something that the team now can fulfill on what you do, and that you have this well-oiled machine? Next is going to be, and last is going to be scale. So what do I mean by scale? How do you take your business online? How do you build digital products based off your knowledge in healthcare? How do you scale the business without you being in fulfillment? How do you leverage AI into your business? All these different things. And so these 6 dials, when you look at it, we have the growth side and we have fulfillment side. And those 2 sides, we're going to be covering in this video, the growth side. There'll be another presentation on fulfillment. You'll see that video elsewhere. But one of the big things, like I said, most people come to us and they think they have just an advertising problem and they're missing the mark. But they got to think about their business holistically, just like treating your business like you want to treat and solve the problems holistically, just like you help your patients. You don't want to put, Band-Aids on shotgun wounds and just cover up symptoms. And that ends up being the problem that we normally have to solve. We have to reconfigure how people think, and this is why. And we don't want patients like that. We don't want clients like that. So I'm going to challenge your thinking in this video to imagine what your practice would look like with all of these maximized. But in this video, we're only going to talk about the growth side. So here's our agenda for today. First, we're going to talk about root causes. And next, we're going to talk about the advertising. I'm going to actually show you why this is the least important portion, about 10% of the growth, why it's not as important as some of these other ones. Next, I'm going to cover conversion. What does that mean? Why funnels are dead. Next, we're going to talk about why the fee-for-service model is the wrong model, so you can fix it. You can fix and offer things profitably so you can spend money on advertising, or if you're not spending money on advertising, how you can be even more profitable and stack revenue month over month and grow the enterprise value of your business. And lastly, options if it makes sense to potentially move forward. So let's cover the 3 root causes. So problem number 1, not all attention is equal. Likely you already know about this. So how do we engineer the right attention? How do we get in front of the right people predictably? How do we engineer our messaging so that we have the right people coming in to our becoming aware of what we do? Second is the buyer's journey is not linear. It used to be. It used to be easy for you just to throw up a funnel and get people through a process. But now people are taking a longer time to make purchase decisions. They require more trust being built. They require more information and the right information because there's so much out there. Next is offer economics are broken. Now, the reason I say this is because many times I've gotten on calls with current clients or prospective clients that When we go through their economics with their offer, their cost of goods sold, the cost of fulfillment, the advertising costs, how many units how many units of care they actually offer to the marketplace, we actually see that lots of times they don't either have enough margin in the deal to run advertising, or they're losing money each time they get someone started. I have seen this time and time again. So if these three things are broken, you're going to have an issue, right? Or they're starting back at zero every single month. And so because of that, they're always in this new patient acquisition game, and that sucks. And that puts you in a really high anxiety place at the beginning of every single month. And so if you can unlock all three of these by the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you how to unlock all three, then growth is inevitable. Once we do that, once we unlock this puzzle for you, your growth will be a matter of time. So let's dive in. First things first, we must unlock why most content or ads fail and separate you from the competition so you can attract the right people in the red ocean of where there's the most scarce resource today is attention, and is the new oil. And so we have to unlock it for you so you can stand out, separate yourself, and not blend in and become part of the gray. Reason being, not all attention is equal. So I'm going to cover that. Obviously, I'm going to go into a high level, and I'm also going to go granular so you can get the full scope from everything from principles and philosophy to nuance. So I'm going to show you some stuff. I'm going to go through this really quickly, so hope you're paying attention. One of the big things that most people don't realize is that their advertising may not be the main problem that they have. Advertising is just getting attention, and it's about 5 to 10% of the total equation of getting pre-sold patients. And so lots of times it is not the issue. Now, you do want to have amazing advertising, whether it be content or with paid ads. But regardless, I'm going to break down the highest leverage things because we don't think like an ad agency, because we are not an ad agency. We have that as a component of what our major power dials. But by the end, you may think, actually, I don't have an advertising problem, and I'll show you why. So the main goal here is we want to attract the right eyeballs, because in the attention economy that we are living in, right, the attention is a very valuable resource. It's the new oil. And so because of this, people are getting absolutely ridiculously wealthy by having brands and having good content out there. So what our goal is if you're not necessarily prolific, how do we solve this problem, whether it be through content marketing, strategic content, or with paid ads? That's all, ads are basically just content, just with money behind them. And so you have three major roadblocks. Number one, red ocean. What do I mean by this? There's a lot of competition, a lot of people saying a lot of the same things. And so this becomes difficult to stand out. A lot of people just get numb to your message. Number two, speed to lead. How fast can you get contact with these leads? Because you have a huge fall off. I'm going to show you how big that fall off is when you don't connect with your leads quickly. Third is liquidation. How long can you wait to get paid from your advertising? Some people, not so long. And so we need to address these three things. I'm going to show you what I mean by this. And so because of this, a lot of people are tired of the agency model. If you found yourself going from agency to agency to agency and no success, or success and then fall off, success and then fall off, well, it means you don't have an ad problem. You actually have something deeper down the pipe. And I want to address it today, right now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why. The main thing is this: many people are posting and promoting undifferentiated content on platforms that require gobs, absolute enormous amount of different variation and hooks and angles on why someone should pay attention to you. Because like I said, the bar for people paying attention to you is much higher. And so how do we solve this problem if you're not a professional content creator? So let's get into it. Number one, red oceans. So let's solve the first thing. Number one, you got to stand out. But in standing out, there's an issue, is understanding why people get in a red ocean. So for us to invert the problem, let's look how it starts. Number one, when you come into a market, let's say you're going to market a technology. It could be anything. It does not matter what it is. It could be a device that people use to solve. It could be a method. It could be anything. But if everyone's marketing the same thing, you're positioned in the same way, it becomes very difficult to stand out. And so what ends up happening is people move in pre-market to prime market to post-market. What do I mean by this? Pre-market, they're not ready to buy. So they're still deciding. They haven't got enough information. The pain isn't high enough. Prime market is they're in the buying pocket. They're ready for a solution. And then lastly is the post-market, which is either satisfied with the solution or they don't like the current options, so they did not buy. And they're actually moving past market. They're just like, I don't think this is for me at all. And so people are moving from left to right and right to left. So what ends up happening is that person might come here. For example, let's say you're in pre-market, you're making decisions, maybe my ad stirred some things up and you're ready to buy. And as you're going through this presentation, you're going, hey, I think this might be the right crew for me. maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. And then you'd be in the prime spot, right? You'd be like ready to move forward and potentially see how this would fit in your business. Post-market would be, hey, I'm happy with the solution, I'm ready to rock. Or you say, this is absolutely not what I need, and I don't actually like any of the options available, so I think I'm going to look for something completely different in a different market. But also going backwards. So if you've ever had a situation where you had a patient that you work with that worked with someone else and they came to you, is because they were post-market, now they're back in prime and they're looking to solve that problem. Or someone who took a look and said, hey, I'm not actually ready, I need to go back into pre-market. So this is how people move in and out of these three pockets. Now, where you might find an issue is like, my ad started working and then they all of a sudden stopped, is if you overfished, quote unquote, in this spot where there's all the different people who are ready to buy and there's latent value that has been untapped, and then everyone's coming in the same fishing spot, then you get all that value out, and then no one's ready to buy anymore because the supply has been exhausted. And so now you have to wait for the trickle of people going from pre to prime or from post to prime. And this is much slower. So how do we solve that? I'll get into that in a second. So next, speed to lead. One of the biggest problems is people do not get to their leads fast enough. There's a Harvard study on this. Take a look at it on your own time. But basically what they said is that after 5 minutes, if you do not contact them within that 5-minute window, the chance of you contacting him and getting a hold of him has a 900% chance decrease. It is absolutely astonishing what can happen if you actually contact your leads within 5 minutes. It is ridiculous how much more money you'll earn. You'll double or triple the business just off this one variable. But what if you don't have the manpower? What if you don't have the budget for another employee? Let's get into that. So we're going to solve that problem here shortly. Third, liquidation. This is a term that a lot of people are not aware of. But when it comes to the advertising, liquidation is absolutely key. Reason being is because the shorter your liquidation period is, the weaker the business is. Typically, you don't have as much of an ecosystem. And I've been here, absolutely. Longer is you have a stronger biz. You're like, okay, I can wait a lot longer and spend money and outlay cash and capital without seeing a return. These are stronger businesses. These are bigger businesses. This is why that is a good position to be, because the person who can spend the most money to get the client, the customer, the patient is going to win. They can wait the longest, and so they can outbid. Because all advertising is basically auctions. And the more you can bid in your auction, the better you're going to do. And you're going to outbid everyone. And eventually the lion's share will go to you. And so what that typically looks like is people need to make money in this gap here. Actually, I just screwed that all up. That's okay. In a nutshell, people want to make money in this gap where big businesses are willing to wait, and they're willing to wait months and months and months of time and not earn any money, but they want to earn money immediately. They think that I should just be able to go to the very top, and that's not the case. That's actually unlikely. It's possible, but it's improbable. And so how do we solve this problem? I'm going to jump into that. So first things first, how do we solve this problem? Well, how are we different? Well, we take a contrarian approach. Our marketing model is different. So there's two ways that you can earn money. Let's get to the philosophy here. How do we advertise? What does advertising mean? Well, we have to make people aware. That's really what it means, to turn, to direct, or to make aware of something. And so you have two options: green, and you risk your green, you risk the money, or red, you risk the time, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Ads or content, both work. But the principles that I'm going to share and how we do it differently apply to both. So how do we find blue oceans? Now, blue oceans, what is a blue ocean? Let me just share with you really quick. I've done this training before. What is a blue ocean? Simply this: you have 3% of people ready to buy. That is going to be anytime you've ran an ad and it's like, wow, people came in, they're ready to rock and roll, ready to buy, good to go. Yes, it's because they're already aware of what you have to sell, and they've been looking for it. And you'll scoop up those people, and that's the smallest market. And so that's how another reason why ads fail, right? It's kind of coming back to what I was referring to. But how do we get this 7 to 10% who are open to a solution but are pre-market? Or maybe they're post-market and they don't like the current solutions, and you can push them into prime. You can move them both to the middle. Well, our main system does this. Not only does it scoop up that top 3%, but it starts to train the 7 to 10% that are open. Now, the 70% that fall into need more time, that's a longer timeline. Typically, you want to offer them smaller offers and products and things of this nature to get them in your ecosystem, and you would need a larger breadth of things. And then you have 20% of people who will never buy from you no matter what you do. You can dance on TikTok with your ass shaking and they're not going to do anything. So how do we get this section here? This is how, variation. Now, what I want to let you know about these platforms is they're the world's fastest shuffling machines. They're digital Darwinistic machines. The more variation, the more adaptations, the more iterations you give to it, the faster it can shuffle, the faster it can find a winner. And I'm going to get into why that's so important here in a second. But to find the winning ad that will go to the moon, that will crush, you have to create amazing variation. Let me go and show you what that can look like when you get this right. I'm going to do this really quickly here. So here's an ad that we did from 2022. This ad lasted a year and a half. Look how many engagements this has. This is 10,000 engagements, 312 comments, 857 shares, a lot of free attention. Why? Because it garnered attention. Memes and humor are one of my favorite ways to capture attention, and this thing crushed. Another one, something like this. This offers a premium, so $200 offer, $400 was the original price. Even with some of the typos and the mistakes in this, we got this ad crushing 561. And this ad has provided a lot of results. And as you can see, a lot of this here, there's some people kind of in the mixed bag, right? You get people in the comments going, oh, it's this or it's that. Some people love it, some people hate it. Another example is this one, 40,000 views with 1,000 likes. This is another client. She's actually a mental health specialist. We call her recovery designer. So we created a whole new industry. She's charging $36,000 for her mental health programs per year. Pretty nuts. And so these ads that I have permission to share with you, they catch people's attention. They make people go, okay, what the hell is this? I need to pay attention. This makes sense. And we got to those through lots of variation and failed ads. Let me explain. How do we get to them? Well, we create a multiplication table. We create a lot of creatives, meaning images, videos, so on and so forth. We combine those with different hooks. I'm showing you Facebook. It applies to YouTube, Google, X. It does not matter. TikTok, I don't really like TikTok. Don't recommend it. It hooks and education, meaning we're going to have the thing that captures their attention that people can see visually. Then we're going to have the hook, which is the opening first line or two, that the first 5 seconds that they hear, and then the education, which is going to be the meat and potatoes of it. And so because of this, you can multiply and create huge numbers. For example, let's say I asked you for 10 creatives and we give you what we want you to, for those 10 creatives, or we build them for you. Maybe we create 5 pictures and we have 5 videos. We create 20 hooks, or maybe you want to create 20 hooks. Probably not. It's a lot of work, right? 20 different hooks, first line, second line. We're going to get into what those are. And let's say I have 5 pieces of education here. Well, if I do this multiplication table, this would now equal right here, doing this math, it's 1,000 different variations. Now, this is amazing because if you have 1,000 variations, there's a very high likelihood you're going to find one of those winners like I just showed you that crushes them. It's crazy ROI because how ads actually work. And if no one's ever told you this, I'm excited to share this with you. Most people perceive that it's going to look something like this, where it's like all the ads are going to work, right? And if you've experienced this before, you're magical, you're better than me, you should get off this video right now, and I have nothing to give to you. But if you haven't, what happens, and you've probably seen this, and if you didn't get the return, is because all of the ads that were run fell beneath this line right here and did not hit this point, right? And so what ends up happening is this, let's imagine this is 190 ads in, or 190 different variations. You didn't find the winner because it fell in the negative ROI. And this, oddly enough, is called a J-curve distribution pattern. Why do I say this? It is a term used in investment firms that invest in businesses, even invest in stocks and things of this nature. Now, typically is used in VC fund. The investment thesis is I'm going to invest in 100 companies, and 98 to 99% of them are going to fail. And that 1 to 2% that win provide the entire return for the whole portfolio. Ads are no different. So you must think of it as an investor that is investing in different ideas or different angles, different reasons why someone should work with you. And the way to think about it, the way that we think about it, is that this top 1% or 2% provides all the outsized returns for your entire ad portfolio. And that's the idea. And so the more ad variations you were like, well, my ad stopped working is because you maybe didn't run enough variation. And this solves this. And you use this pattern here, you use these, and it's as simpler than it seems, but that's how you get the winners. Next, this will work no matter the marketplace. So for example, maybe you have a premium offer, right? And that's amazing. A discounted offer or free offer. All those work. They all work. The challenge is what kind of lead flow do you want? You can go free and you get a lot of leads. They get a 9 to 10 times higher take rate. Or you can go highly premium and you say, hey, shit, I know I'm going to spend $200-$300 a lead, but we're going to close a higher percentage. So you have to have, there's a risk tolerance there that goes into play. And how do you want to acquire those leads? There's different systems from webinars to VSLs to lead gen to, there's so many ways, free offers, all kinds of stuff. There's so many ways to do it. Discovery call. And because of this, it's an inverse correlation between quantity and quality. You have to decide which of these you want. We've made them all work. I used to be very dogmatic against discounted and free, but as I've matured over the 4 years that I've been doing this, I'm open to all three. They just have different downsides and different pros and cons. And so you just got to be ready for each of them and whatever one works best for your business model. And so creating the contrarian messaging that does all the things I'm referring to, how do you create all the variation? Well, we got to create contrarian messaging so that you stand out, whether it be the ad creative or the words that you say. And so we need to zig when they zag. We got to go the opposite direction. And so there's a man named Mr. Beast that has about 200 million plus subscribers on his YouTube. He's absolutely won the content game. He knows how to arrest and garner attention and monetize it. He talks about one of the major principles behind what he does is confirm the thumb, meaning confirm the thumbnail on the video, and then the first 5 to 10 seconds of the video must confirm what the person clicked on. And so what he's referring to is that opening hook. Now, one of the major objections, and we're going to get into the opening hooks and how do we assemble the ads, is, well, John Cameron, I can use GPTs, I can use AI to write my ads and my scripts and what to say. Fine, you can do so. What I'll tell you is that these right here out of the box, without any training, without tremendous amount of information, is like having an F1 car out of the box, right? You can go buy an F1 car if you have the money for it, right? They're expensive machines, but they're amazing pieces of technology and they're absolutely robust. They solve the problem of speed and cornering. The problem is if you have a shitty driver, not saying you're shitty per se, but if your driver's inexperienced or does not have the deep knowledge, a inexperienced driver gets behind the wheel of an F1 car and destroys it, or it's not as effective, and it's going to be basically like everyone else's experience. But a Max Verstappen or a Lewis Hamilton, some of these F1 drivers that are crushing, they get behind an F1 car and they win. And so what we have done is we produced AIs that we've coded, that we've created, that we custom. We've added, FTC compliance information, ad compliance information, thousands of winning ads, thousands of losing ads. So we can discern between the two, the advertising words and hooks that keep you from getting disapproved and rejected, or higher chance of that not happening. And it's been seasoned and trained on how to produce advertising copy at the highest level. So I want to make sure you understand the difference between your out-of-the-box GPTs and AIs and ones that we have produced. So just so you're aware. Now, you can do whatever you want. I'll just kind of let you know what we do and what we've done. And so here's how you how you structure a script for an ad, for what you're going to say, whether it be the written words or the actual script itself. The first 5 seconds, you need to state your business. For example, what we do, one of our best ads is tired of having to justify the value of the care to your patients. And that's going to let you know, oh, yeah, that's me. I'm tired of doing that. Okay, well, then I like to do that. State your business. It might sound like, as an example, why are autoimmune patients struggling to find the care they deserve? Or here are the 5 mistakes people with Hashimoto's make. Or stop doing XYZ. Stop doing nerve velocity testing for neuropathy. Here's why. Just give me some examples here. Truth bomb, right? There's some huge hooks that we use that have crushed. And so you do that, state your business, you're going to capture someone's attention immediately. The next thing you need to do is polarize, meaning you start to repel and attract the wrong and right, the people that you want in. And so the way I do this, as an example, I think the next line is something to the effect of, the sick care model and big pharma have brainwashed patients to be used to just managing disease. How do we save these patients from the matrix, or how do we get them out of the matrix of the sick care system? And so if you are part of the sick care system, that does not resonate with you, you're not going to continue to read my ad, which is exactly what I want. And then in the middle, I break down steps, mistakes, lists, or stories on why you should click on the ad and go to the next stage. Now, the copy codex we've put together, let me show you real quick what that looks like. This is an example of what this would look like of very successful ads. We actually need to update this. There's probably more ads in here that we can add, some of the ones I've already shown you, and they've crushed. So these are formulas that we've used, and we use prompts, and we use a combination of our skill that we have as a team with the copywriters we have on staff, and as well as the AIs that we've seasoned to tell it what to do. We start to fill this out so we can create immense amounts of variation. So you never have to run out of ad copy that has a high chance of success. And so with that, this is one of our tools we use, one of our documents of the many, to be able to solve this problem. And so how do we, once we've solved that, we have the variation, we have all the things we need. How do we make sure we get good speed to lead? Well, here's how we do it. We use an AI lead nurture team. It's powered by Charlie AI. I know the founder personally. He's a good friend of mine. I've looked at many AIs. His is by far the best. And here's why. Number one, his platform is absolutely sick. And I'll show you what that looks like down below. So the contextual script that you can install, so it can be contextual to the offer that you're bringing to the office or to the lead, the business foundations that you can install in it so they understand who you are, what your business stands for, all the different things. The knowledge base that's extensive, that we've already built out, that we can customize together and create custom for you, that will answer a lot of the questions around insurance and travel and what's the cost and how does the process work and what is the offer, all the different intricacies that happens inside of your normal conversations with patients. And this is much different than your GHL type of follow-up that's kind of more canned out of the box. This is all custom to you, and it will do everything. It will follow up indefinitely, and it will do everything you want, and also contact them under 5 minutes. It is so amazing, and I'll show you some of the results that we've gotten from it. And so the way this plugs in is that between the traffic opt-in calendar and console, it fits right in between here from the opt-in to the calendar. However they're opting in, does not matter whether it's a webinar registration or a lead form or whatever. They plug in, and the goal is to push into your calendar of some sort, whether it's to schedule an office appointment, a day zero, a discovery call, it does not matter, or to actually book in for a webinar. And so because of this, what this allows it to do is to give you the I'm going to be able to contact my leads within 5 minutes and have a high chance of success. Let me show you what can happen when you do this right. So here is our offer actually. So this is ours over 2 months, 745 leads. Now we're a business to business offer. You're a business, I hope, if you're watching this. Our leads to call to action, and we had 93 leads over a 2 month span get to the call to action, and 93 people got to and responded to the call to action, which is booking, which is awesome. So what does this mean? That people are getting to the call to action, they end up actually booking, and 33% of people who became leads actually responded to our intro phrase, which is pretty good. So that's awesome. 7.5% of people DQ'd and 62% did not answer. Now, one of the big key numbers I want you to see here is that $20,000 of saved time, 1,000 hours of communication, an average of 4 messages sent per lead. That's an average. So it saved me time, tremendous amount of time. Now, let me show you one of our clients. This is just November. 260 leads, pretty sick. One of the cool things I want you to see, just because we're not a business, this is a business to patient offer. Check out this number, 38% of leads to call to action, pretty nuts. What's even better is out of those leads, 64% of the people who got to the call to action booked a freaking call. So out of this 260, 100 people booked in. I don't think this is a, no, yeah, this is a call. This is a call funnel. This has a call component to it. So yes, it is 100 calls. And then out of that, check this out, 17 leads self-DQ'd, and 60% of people responded to that opening message because we engineered the crap out of it. So what this did is it saved our client 608 hours of communication, $12,000 of commissions and fees if he were to have a rep reach out, or multiple reps reach out at the rate that he's doing it, and an average of 3 messages to get them to this booking. So pretty sick stuff. This is why I love Charlie and how amazing it is. And so can you do this? Let me ask you. Here's how you know this can fit in your model. Can you answer some questions about your ideal patient? Can you give me some psychographic background around your avatar of your right patient? If the answer is yes, you can do this. If someone helped you either manage because you did a higher level tier, higher tier, or coached you on how to manage your ads. Basically, here's what you turn on, here's what you turn off, here's how you scale this, here's how you, because it's really not a lot. 5 minutes. Could you do this on a 5 minute per day? Because it is your money, right? It's your money leaving your account. So you should care about, could you do this? Next, if you had the ads installed for you, could you do this, right? Instead of you having to worry about the complexity of the platforms and learning how to install them, and you had someone do it for you, could you do it? If you had the scripts created for you, do you think you could do this? Maybe you're wondering, how much money do I spend? Well, what I'll tell you is this. The average return on these, if your care plan is 10K, and we'll talk about care plans later in this video. Let's say your care plan is 10K. Expect to pay 10 to 20% of this price, of this care plan price, to acquire a patient that's paid. So you might get leads, you might get in-office visits or what have you, consults, but 10 to 20%. So it's going to be $1,000 to $2,000 of spend to be able to receive that, right? 10 to 1 or a 5 to 1. The goal by the end is for you to have a predictable 5 to 1 ad ROI. Okay. The minimum that we go for is 3 to 1. We have much higher than that as an average, but I wanted to make sure I'm not over claiming and over promising here, but this is the end goal. If you have a machine that you put $1 in, you make 5 back, I'm sure you'll dump money into that machine. Unlock number 2, why funnels are dead and what to do instead. Well, my belief is that you need an automated patient education and ecosystem, not just a funnel, but an ecosystem material of education that helps the patient take the time and come into your world in multiple ways to cover information the way they want to receive it and allow them to understand what you do and why you're the most efficacious practitioner to work with them. Why are you the one they should work with? And so with that being said, let's cover why the buyer journey is no longer linear and what we do here at Etho. This right here is the secret sauce between your ads and the attention and money. So this is the bridge between those two things. And how do we set up the consult so the patient is pre-nurtured, pre-sold, and pre-educated on what you do, so you have a much easier time converting them from a lead or a consult into a patient and having them start care. And so what does this look like? Well, I'm going to be covering the problems that we ran into and the mistakes that we made over the last 4 years trying to solve this problem and continuing to improve and solve this problem. This will all depend on your business model, because we can modulate and adapt to your current model, or we can create a whole new model for you. So let's go and talk about what this is. First things first, our goal is to engineer warm referrals. As you're probably well aware, warm referrals are much easier to close, hence we want more of them. So how do you engineer that? It can be engineered. It's just challenging, right? That's why everyone wants to get it done. So first, we're in a trust session. Why? What do I mean by this? Well, Google has backed this up, and you can check this out. It's a 11-7-4 rule. So 11 contact points, 7 hours on average over 4 different platforms is the average online. This is the data they use, and that's including all different industries for them to become a customer, a buyer, a client, or a patient, right? It's a lot of time to be spending with someone. So if you don't have something that can engineer the contacts, right? Contacts, hours, platforms, right? If you don't have something that can do a similar function, it's going to be difficult. Next, the consumption and the buyer's journey is no longer linear, which I talked about already. So it's a nonlinear consumption of material to demonstrate that you're the right fit. And then third is atoms versus bits. So these are the 3 major roadblocks that I find that practitioners deal with in trying to solve this problem. Let's get into the first one. Number 1 is a trust recession. So first things first, you have these stages here. These are arbitrary stages that I've set up. So you have low trust, moderate trust, high trust. Low trust, people think you're full of shit. Maybe you think I'm full of shit. That's okay. Why do you think I have this video? So you can see that I'm not, and my team can actually get it done for you. You're going to be the judge of that. So the first stage is you don't think you need, or the patient does not think they need it or need you, right? They don't think they need you. I don't need that, right? Okay, great. Once they get past that, and then maybe they need to trust you. Okay, well, is this person trustworthy? You know, there's some things that can add trust and credibility. You can obviously have testimonials. You can use endorsements and people giving you praise. You can use larger publications. You can have a lot of content. It can be time with you. That time is part of the ingredient. And so we can solve those problems. Next, they don't trust themselves, that they don't think it works for them, or they don't think they can do it, right? This is where people have bought things and it doesn't work for them. And so they don't want to be ridiculed. This is a ego thing, right? This is a reputation thing. This is, I don't want to look stupid or waste time or waste money because I did this thing one time. I did this in the past multiple times. It didn't work. Well, one of my questions is, what we see is winners are going to do it regardless. They're going to continue because they want to win, right? Lots of times what ends up happening is people hit some form of adversity and then they stop. So the question is for the patient, do you want the patient that's, if they run into adversity, they're trying to refund and just leave and dip out? Is that the type of person you want in your practice? I wouldn't recommend it. So, and then lastly is high trust. They're ready to buy. Now, the big thing that you're doing here is navigating fear. Right. Really, they're ready to buy. There's a lot of trust there, but there's a circumstance. Maybe it's a money thing. Maybe it's maybe not the right time thing, permission because the spouse or some other person in their life is not, giving them permission. They feel like they have to ask, this is a spouse, mainly the spousal objection and then the self. They're just avoiding stuff. It's an internal thing that you got to get past because they got this block in their brain that they're not worthy or something like this. And so that's engineered inside of our presentation. But the goal here is to take someone from left to right. So how do you do that? Well, we got to solve that problem. This is one of my mentors here. His name's Taylor Welch. To truly help people, you must master the art of helping people navigate through things they don't want to, so they can always have the things they wanted to have. Reason being is because what ends up happening is the decision is always going to be outside of their comfort zone, and they're going to fight like hell to stay in it. That is the problem. And so how do we fix that? So the next problem of this is the nonlinear consumption. The old way is traffic, opt-in, call, or some form of scheduling time, consult, money. But that is no longer sufficient. Like I said earlier, it is the 11-7-4 rule. So what ends up happening is the buyer's journey looks like this, right? Let me zoom out a little bit. They got, traffic, they go to an opt-in, and then they bounce to other ads, and then they look at a website, and then they go to reviews, and they talk to their friends, they go to content, they go to your competitors' ads, and they come to more ads, and maybe go on your email, and then they book a call or book a consult, and then they get started with you. And it's non-linear. So this is a problem. So we got to solve for that. Next, and likely you watching this right now, probably going to have the same behavior. So that's proof. Next, atoms and bits. Here is something a model that I like to think about is, atoms are inefficient, right? This is physical labor, you actually doing the thing or someone in your office doing the thing. And bits, which are inefficient, both of them have their downsides, both of them have their upsides. So atoms are inefficient, whereas bits are efficient. Atoms have variable delivery, sequential, labor intensive. It's all centralized and it's time taxing, right? Versus bits are efficient. You can iterate to perfection. This is the 9th video of like this that I've made, and each video gets better and better and better because I have more and more data. You can have it in concurrent. Multiple people can watch this right now and you wouldn't even know. That's the best part. They're productized, right? So I can make sure that it's perfectly done the same way every single time. And that's amazing. And then decentralized, right? So I can send this video out on different platforms. This video can be playing in multiple places and it expands my time. And so because of this allows for leverage. A lot of practices have no leverage. They don't have a leverage way to communicate what they do. And so they're in the time for dollars situation. And so I'm trying to remove you out of that. If you're watching this right now, that's one of my major goals, is to build more time into your life. If you already feel starved for time, this system brings you back time. Yes, is there time investment to get it started? Of course. But once you build an asset brings dividends. And in this case, not just monetary, but also temporal. So you have both more time and more money, and it gives you higher leverage. And so I'm excited to talk about this. Why? Well, here it is. I started thinking about the consult. What the F is a consult, right? What really is it? It's a one-on-one sequential conversation between two people to travel information from one person to the next. So the information packet, which is this thing right here, goes from left to right, left to right, left to right, bounce forward, back and forth. It's a volley until you have the right information to be able to make whether it be a diagnosis or to be able to prescribe treatment. All right. And so because of this, it has to happen on a one-to-one sequence. So I thought to myself, what would that look like if you could have concurrent action? Well, it looks something more like this, concurrent education. And what ends up happening is certain people say, that's not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me. And then for those that are saying, I think this is right for me. This might be right for me. I want to explore this further. These are these people, right? And so now think about it this way. What would happen if 80% of the information you always share all the time with every patient no longer has to be done by you, but the digital version of you? Interesting thought. So the goal here is to build an infrastructure of decentralized education to provide the pre-nurturing, the pre-education, the pre-selling. So what we have built is a pre-selling ecosystem model that allows you to do this. And I'm going to break down some stats. Now, this is a particular person that we've gotten permission to share their stats. This is a 365-day snapshot of their account. This is in Wistia. It's a platform that hosts videos. And here's some of their numbers. Kind of freaking nuts here. So 4,179 hours played in 1 year. That's two. So the average person works 2,000 hours a year. So this is 2 years or two people's worth of time in these videos. Yes, we have a low play rate. That's fine. 75,000 unique visitors. Of course, we spent some money on these to get some eyeballs on it. But this is over a 365-day period. So I want you to imagine if in a 365-day period, you got 4,179 hours back. Now, as you know, the equation for that's crazy because there's only like 8,000 hours in a year. So you got half your year back. And this was done 365, 24/7, 365 on the weekends, at nighttime, in the morning, on holidays. It was done for this particular client. And so this amount saved is incredible. Now, our average for our clients is actually 3,217 hours. That's an average that I can bank on. And so this is important because think about what that would do for you if that was your average. We obviously have higher. We have the highest we've seen was like 9,800 in a year. The lowest we've seen is the below 1,000, right? It's all depending on the amount of eyeballs they get on the videos. But consider even if it was 1,000, what that would do. Half your year back, right? Half your working year. And so with this, there's different assets we have created. So here's an example. We explain your care model. Right, we explain what is your secret sauce. Ours is the pre-sold patients model. Our practitioners have different ones, different names for. We help them design the name and the mechanism for that. The offers, we explain their offers, explain the conditions that you serve. Frequently asked questions. Pre-consult, what does that look like? You know, let's provide a video so the patient understands what happens pre-consult. Pre-ROF. What is that? So they can be the right expectations. Maybe they show it to their spouse before the day two if you have a day one, day two process. Cold traffic assets like this one that you're watching right now that's longer, that gives full context, and a person who's never heard of you before can get more understanding what you do. Results, brand story, disqualified video. Maybe they're not a good fit. They need to actually be disqualified out of your funnel. That's okay. Maybe you can downsell them into something else. Pre-call or pre-visit. What does that look like? So if you have like if we're doing a visit, you know, something where they're coming for a day zero, or if they're doing a call, what does that look like? Can we make a video about that? Can we introduce the practice? This is just an example of the scope. And this comes out to about 20 videos in total. But these 20 videos, and it's all strategic. We have frameworks for all of them, models for all of them, know exactly what I want. You know, my team and I want in these exact videos. And we hand that to you on a silver platter. What this does is it assembles a ecosystem of assets that can be deployed in different ways. It's adaptive. You can use it like a modular. It's like Lego blocks, and you can use your assets in different locations too, which is the beautiful part about it. And so it's adaptive. You can interchange assets. I'm just giving you an example here of one simple. This is just the funnel. It's not including the website or some of the other funnels that they have, but these funnels get assembled to become an ecosystem. The website gets assembled because this particular client wanted the website. That was part of the thing he wanted. And so we started reconfiguring all these all the online materials and leveraging these assets to drive throughput. And so what do you say in these videos? Now I can give you a breakdown here. This is the base unit. This is my model. I call it the edusuasion loop, right? It's a funny name for it. So education and persuasion, what have you. And so there's a 3-part section here really that breaks it down. So it's basically the problem. So this section here is the problem. We're explaining the problem. Then we're explaining the solution or the fix. And here's the outcome. And I'm going to break this down for you, right? So It's 3 simple steps. Now I could go into each section with more detail, but I think it'd be make this make this video 30 minutes longer, not from just on this section alone. The problem is explain the what, the why, and the how. What is the problem? Why does so, and as well as what is the misconception around that? Why does it happen, and how that person feels when they have that problem? How did this come to be? Fix. Explain what makes you different. Pretty straightforward, right? Because it's very difficult to say that you're better, right? Because then that person says, prove it. F you, I don't believe you. But if you can say you're different, a little bit harder for them to dispute that. Outcome. Lastly, explain how they can do it and why it will work for them and what happens because of this, right? So what's going to happen on average if they work with you? I'm doing my best to be a meta example of this exact thing as we're going through this right now. And so my goal is for you to be able to see how could this apply to your practice? How could this apply to your business so you have that time back? And so when you have these, you have in a lot of the models that we have, for example, you're going through a 3-part process right now. If you came in, my goal is to say, hey, you got a problem here. This is an issue, you got chaos. And I'm taking you through 3 steps. This is the, you got advertising. You got conversions here. And then up next, you got offers. I'm going to cover that next one. And so then my goal is by the end, you feel a little bit more orderly. You're like, okay, this makes more sense. Maybe these guys are good. Maybe they know what the hell they're talking about. Maybe you don't feel that way. Whatever. The goal is for me to assemble something and you to have something like this in your business that would imagine what this will look like if you're able to explain what you do in your office and how it works and why you're different in a leveraged way. And so there's 3 main ways we typically explain it. And there's 3 styles, right, in this one specific type of asset. It's a stack. So you need these 3 things. It does not matter which order you do them, but if you have these 3 components, this stuff's going to work. You have sequence, which is exactly what it sounds like. You must do them and you must have these things, but then you need to do them in the right order. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? That's another way. Or a cycle, which would be every revolution, it gets better, it gets faster, or every revolution gets worse and worse and worse. So you can explain it in those 3 ways. These are the 3 ways that I found. Maybe there's more, but these are the 3 ways that I've seen most offers being explained and demonstrated. So when you have this, you can explain your videos, you can solve the pre-selling component, you can leverage your time, you have atoms and bits that allows you to really get so much time back and not have to do that broad explaining over and over and over again. So the question is, can you do this? Well, let me ask you, if the scripts were written for you, right? Of course, you're going to need some input because they're yours, but if they were written for you, could you do it? If you were given exact instructions around what we're looking for, do you think you could do this? If the infrastructure that undergirds this entire process, from the email follow-ups to the technology, to the pages that need to be built, to the video editing of all the video content, if that was built out for you, do you think you could do this? If so, and you had examples on exactly what you need, then this could save you 3,217 hours on an annual basis. And because of that, what this allows for is for you to have more time back in your life, and you have patients that understand what you do, because you and your staff can use those assets however you see fit for them to understand your business, your care, and how it works. Now, the third and final piece is going to be fun. Why the fee for service is dead. Why is that model no longer working? And why is it causing so many issues in businesses and small thinking? See, the problem is when you do this, you compete on price. And so what I want to unlock for you is profitable money models that allow you to revenue stack month over month, year over year. And as you keep your patients inside of your ecosystem, or your clients inside of your ecosystem, you can earn more and more money and grow your revenues and grow the value of your business, so that if you want to exit it, it's amazing. Or you're not starting back at 0 every single month. And so the reason this is because most people don't take the time to design their offers intelligently, or they're not sure. They're just copying someone else, their pricing, their structure, instead of thinking deeply about what they can offer that's unique. And so I'm going to show you why the offer economics are broken and how we fix them and how do we solve this problem. This is going to be the philosophic and principle-based thinking that we take first principles of building out offers and all the different models that we use to actually develop multiple tranches of offers. For example, you can have low ticket all the way up to high ticket, everything from $100, or $50 all the way up to $50,000. And we actually been able to do this and assemble this. And I'm going to cover our scar tissue, the mistakes, failures, and things that we've done wrong, and also how to protect the practitioners from the needing to get new patients every single month. And I'm excited to share this with you. So let's jump right in. So our goal here is a 7-star offer that stacks revenue. What do I mean by this? Well, 7 stars is something that goes beyond 5 stars, beyond 6 stars, beyond 7 stars. Think about the type of review that would need to be left, some sort of noteworthy experience that would garner someone saying, I wish you could give higher than 5 stars. That is what we're going for. And then stacking revenue, if you look at that, what I mean by this is important, something that will actually increase wealth and market enterprise value for the business, for the practice over time. So let's cover it. So these 3 major roadblocks we have to cover. So I'm going to jump into each of these, and then I'm going to provide the solutions for each of them. So the first one is no secret sauce. If you do not have any secret sauce, a unique experience that you're bringing to the table, packaging and position you as something different is going to be challenging. Number 2, ad compatibility. This is all about pricing and how do you price properly so that it works well with advertising. Most people get this wrong. Third, new patient dependence. Like I said before, you need to have something that will move you out of the new patient rat race. So why is this important? Well, if you have an undifferentiated patient offer that with thin margins, it will make it difficult to leave new patient hamster wheel. Absolutely will do this for you. So let's cover it. Now, starting with no secret sauce. What do I mean by this? Well, without creating a USP, a unique selling proposition, meaning what makes you different. So when someone says, okay, hey, what are you about? What is your practice? If you can't articulate clearly what you do, it's going to be very difficult for them to, number 1, know what you do, and 2, articulate it to someone else. So if you wonder why I'm finding it difficult to be able to get referrals or I'm not getting introductions to new other patients, because you can't, your value proposition to the patient is unclear in their mind, so it makes it difficult. So if you're in this space, you're stuck in competition, and this is typically the fee-for-service model. Here's an example. If you go to a buffet, let me ask you, last time you were at a buffet, if you even go to these, how was the food? Was it outstanding? Did it blow your mind where you're like, oh my God, I got to tell everyone about this buffet? No, it's mediocre at best. And that's the whole point, because there's lack of focus. And because it's lack of focus, you cannot price above a certain amount before people start, balking at it. And so this is where we see a lot of practitioners are stuck here. They have a Frankenstein business. They have a buffet style practice where they're serving everyone. So because of that, their patient is no one. It makes it difficult to leave the fee-based or price-based structure and the competition that comes with comparison. And so the direction that they want to go, they're stuck because they're kind of seen as a dime a dozen practice. It's that perception of I could just throw a rock and find a practitioner just like you, when that may not necessarily be the case. It's a communication and focus issue. Number 2, brute force growth. We have practitioners that come in that are exceptional entrepreneurs, but the problem is they get this wrong. And so they're having to brute force their way to 6-figure months, and it's a pain in the ass. It sucks. It's draining. It's tiresome. And Frankenstein, meaning that the business like this is put together kind of haphazardly, chewing gum and duct tape, and they haven't really thought through the design of the business. And so this is the antithesis of what we want, which is something like this: a Michelin star practice. Now this is Joe Robuchon. This is a business, a 3-star Michelin star restaurant that is extremely famous. It has a waiting list of months. It takes like $1,000 to $1,500 just to even get in on a tasting menu. I don't know if you've ever seen the food, like fine dining for this type of stuff, but it's small portions and you're paying a shit ton of money to go there. Why? The late owner, and who he's trained have curated, would probably be the right word, a culinary experience that garners and commands that type of price point, that garners and commands the wait list. Now, I'm not promising we can do that exact thing for you, but what I am saying is structuring the principles of what they're doing correctly to your business and creating focus and making it clear on what you provide makes it easier for the patient to be able to, number 1, want to spend more money, be clear on what you offer, and then articulate it to other patients. So getting more referrals. So how do we create this? Well, you have to have the unique secret sauce that we can package and position you for a market of one. I'll explain how we're going to do this in a little bit. Let me talk about the second problem. Number 2, ad compatibility. Now, why? Practitioners greatly underestimate how expensive ad traffic is. They really have, most of them have no idea. It is ridiculous how expensive. This is literally one of the most expensive functions you'll do in your business. After overhead, after like fixed expenses for like building and staff, this is definitely right after. So the method that I've learned is called the cash cow method. This is the methodology and formula that I've assembled together through learning, through my mentorship, and spending the shit tons of money that I have on advertising. So here is the formula. Now, I'm not going to take you back to math class, but this is a formula that you can plug in numbers. Let me go and bring this down to layman's terms. So this yellow section here is cost of goods sold. How much does it cost you to get 1 unit of care? Think about every time, I have my fixed expenses, but when I add a new patient into our system, it costs us X dollars to fulfill that. So that could be, I have a $20 an hour staff member and they spend 20 hours with them. That's a $400 cost. Plus maybe there's expendables, supplementation, whatever, right? That costs money and that needs to be factored into this equation. Let's say our COGS for our offer is $800. Let's say it costs us $1,000 that you have to pay to a platform to acquire them, to buy, to actually start care. Okay, great. So we have our two factors there. How much do we collect in month one? So let's say we have a $10,000 offer, but we only collect half up front. Or maybe you finance it. Maybe it is a $5,000 offer and that's what it is. Okay, great. Now we have this equation. So we take $5,000 and we subtract 2 times the cost of goods sold plus the cost of acquisition. So how much it costs us to pay the platform to get them in. This number comes out to $1,800. We multiply that by 2. We now get what is going on here. It comes out to $3,600. So $3,600. Now, why times 2? Well, because you don't just want to be able to pay for the patient that came in and have enough money to cover that cost. You want enough money to be able to buy the next patient so you can chain them together. This is why it's called the cash cow method, because you can continue to be very cavalier and almost cowboy or cowgirlish. Like you literally just be like, okay, let's throw the money into the machine and continue to grow your practice and fund acquisition and grow explosively. And that's what makes it market viable. If this number is greater or above 0 and you can continue to fund growth, you can continue to create new patients coming in the door. And those structures that I'm going to show you about revenue stacking will actually allow you to create back-end MRR, or monthly recurring revenue, that will now grow the market value or the enterprise value of the business. And so if you don't have this, typically acquisition feels like this, right? You're just dumping money everywhere. Everything's on fire and it's and people are just okay with this. If you've been burned before, and because, number one, the team that you work with maybe did not go through the economics of your offer and did not look at it just from a financial standpoint, but as well as the flow and the experience. And I'm going to cover that in a second. So the last part that we have to solve is new patient dependence. Now, one of the big things here we see is practitioners have this new patient dependence where they're starting back at 0 every month. And this is a growth curve of a rough, I'm not going to say who it is in our client roster, but this is what it was looking like before I started to understand this model. It was like we would go up and then it felt like we dropped back down. And then we go up again and then we drop back down. And this would wax and wane depending on the closer, their energy, how their personal life was going. Did someone break up with them? Did they have an issue? Did something happen in their life? And we would see this waxing and waning. And so there's no stability there. And it made it very unpredictable as a model. So starting back at 0 is very stressful. I want you to think what it would feel like if you didn't have to start back at 0 every single month. It probably wouldn't probably you would go away from feeling like this, pushing this rock up this damn hill and it just rolling back on you. And you got to start back over. And you got to do it again. They got to do it again. And you got to do it again every single month. Let's get out of that madness. So how do we solve it? Well, the way we think about it is condition-based recurring offer model, meaning that we have a condition to a solution, a condition to a program. I'm going to explain how we think about it. So you get paid on direct proportion of the value you bring to the marketplace from taking chaos and bringing order to it. That is really, when you boil it down to first principles, that's the way I think about it. You're taking something that's like, I have no clue how to solve it, and you're providing a solution, which is the order. And the quality of said order will derive how much someone is willing to spend, how fast it is, how hard it is for them to learn it. Ease of use, I guess, would be ease of implementation, which I'm going to cover here down below. And it's all going to depend on the level of complexity that you have eaten up, that you have consumed to make it easy for the end user, for the person going through your process. And so that's why a Apple iPhone or a iPad a 2-year-old can operate. Why? Because the Apple engineers in the front end to design the user interface and then the back end on how the software does its stuff has been unconscionably simplified to the point of a lot of people try to copy Apple software. And so the way you want to think about it is if you want ease of implementation, you have to eat the complexity. That's the level of complexity you have to eat. If not, you move to this side. So I'm going to just throw it together. It'll be easy. I'm just going to, takes me no time at all. The ease of implementation is going to drop down for your patient, making it difficult for them to follow through. Even in our business, I have been obsessed with this continuum. And because I know if it's easy for you, you're going to want to share it with your friends. You're going to want to share it with the people you work with. You're going to say, hey, this is an incredible company and we earned that referral, that introduction. That is what I want, right? And I'm a product-focused CEO, if you want to call it that. And the way you want to think about it is let's solve for this. If we do this, everything that follows will start to fall into place. Okay. Once again, that's just a simple model. Now, how do we do it? How do we deploy this? Let me go ahead and show you the way how I think about it. So in your process, the patient has to go here to get the end goal, right? This is the outcome they want, whatever that is. Does not matter what it is. You can place any offer and it can be structured like this. There's step one, they got to get through this. If they don't get through step one, maybe that's onboarding. If they don't do that, then okay, they can't even get to step two. But as you see here, there's obstacles down below. And these obstacles have to be solved. Otherwise, they're going to fall off and they're going to leave and churn, right? And then they're going to want refunds or they're going to want to stop care or whatever. And so the way you want to think about it is if we can solve these problems, let me go back a little bit. If we can solve these problems with a carefully designed solution, what ends up happening is that these bridges here are some unique value bringing to the table, a different way to think about it. A different mechanism that solves their problem, and then they can get to the gold or they can get to the diamond here. Now, one of the things that most people don't think about is future outcomes. And here's why this is so important. It causes what I like to call price elasticity. Okay? Price elasticity is important. Here's why. Here's how to separate even further. It's to provide solutions for future outcomes. It's to say, when you get this thing, I know for a fact that you're going to want this thing over here, but we've already solved that problem for you because we've done this. This will actually unlock steps 5 and step 6, which actually get you to a future goal that I know you want, but you're not even ready yet. Because people that want to solve problems, typically they're thinking of step 6 when they haven't even created step 1. Here's the proof. Think about New Year's. Everyone says, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever. I'm going to get more money this year, whatever. But they haven't even created the habit, for example, of going to the gym. They haven't even created step 1 yet. They haven't even got the habit of eating better. But yet, when they go to, I'm going to get a gym membership, I'm going to get an expensive one, I'm going to get a personal trainer, I'm going to buy all the supplementation, I'm going to get gear, not steroids, but get like the workout equipment and workout clothes, all that stuff. And I'm going to spend all the money, right? Because they're solving problems. And Amazon absolutely capitalizes on this type of behavior. And so that is what we can do here. It can start to expand how much someone is willing to spend if you can solve the future outcomes. Okay, so how do we do it? Here is a process. This is actually our process right now. This is literally what we would take you through if you were to come on inside of our growth program. And you're seeing here's our fulfillment map. So this is a workflow software that we use. I love it. It's called Miro. That's neither here nor there. But what we have here is our black squares is the stuff we do. The white squares is stuff you do. The red squares are power stages that we cannot pass go unless you do it or that we do it. So it's a point of terminus, right? You have to do this. And without the terminus, nothing can continue to flow. And so this could be like, hey, you have to give us access to software, or you have to fill out this one single document, or you have to QA us thing, or you have to whatever, right? It could be any of those things versus maybe us doing something. So our 5 steps in our future solutions here, right? And it's unique the way we set it up. We have onboarding, then we have copy development, and then we have asset and system development, and then we have a campaign launch. And this is all done ideally in 30 days. So 30 days, we're getting soup to nuts. You're going to get top to bottom. You're going to get done. But guess what? You're going to have more stages, right? And I would actually add, I'm actually going to do this really quick. I think if I'm looking at this now, this is actually step 6. And here's why. Because now you're going to want to optimize, right? You're going to want to optimize it. We want to make sure, actually spelled that incorrectly. Look at me. See, even you can get these results. with typos. Anyway, so you're going to want to optimize your system, make sure it's going and growing. We could scale it. But then after that, I don't know what problem you're going to have. I don't know yet, but I have provided solutions to all those things. Do you want to hire more staff? Do you want to train them up? Do you want to launch another growth system? Do you want to refine even the experience and automate pieces of it? Do you want to build front-end products? Do you want to leverage AI? I'm not sure. And so we have to solve these problems in the future. That's going to come as a byproduct. You may be getting more time, maybe getting more resources and money, needing more staff, and we have to solve all those challenges. And so that is how we think about offers. Once again, this is just some of the high-level, high-leverage things as we start to get into it. Now, the next thing that we do is go from a fee-for-service model to a condition to program model. Let me explain. So when you look at the price points, what you'll find is when you advertise, you're going to get people in different buckets: problem aware, solution aware, brand aware. Let me explain the difference between those three. Problem aware is someone who's just aware of the problem. They do not know about any solution. So they're on the earliest of stages of pain. Maybe the pain isn't high enough because they haven't really gone for any new solutions. They're just moving into the state of, I now want to become aware of a solution. When you get to solution aware, they're aware of multiple solutions, and potentially they have not even chosen one because they did not like the current available options. And then you have brand aware, which is like, I like this very specific brand out of the options available. There might be three competitors. Example, your cell phone carrier, right? I think there's basically the main ones. There's T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And so you go, okay, I like AT&T, or I like T-Mobile, or I like Verizon. I like a specific brand. I'm willing to pay more for that specific brand. And that actually is a bad example because a lot of people want to spend less on their cell phone bill. But you're more willing to spend more. Apple would be an example. People are willing to spend tons of money on Apple because they like their brand. I'll give you an example. I can't even walk into an Apple store now and go, I want something here. It's like, I pretty much got it all, right? So I have all the different gadgets and laptops and headphones and stuff like that. And I've spent a shit ton of money with them because I am brand aware. Versus a brand I've never heard of, I might be willing to just try them out. And so this also this is reflected in the way people spend money with you. People coming in, they just want to try treatment because they want to solve a symptom. They want to solve a symptom or symptoms, right? It could be multiple. So they're not willing to spend the kind of money that it would take to actually get a full reversal or a solution. Versus care plans and programs, they're willing to spend a little bit more money because they got a deeper problem, a deeper issue, and they're willing to spend more and more money. And so what we want to do is program your offers into two different buckets, right? Symptom-focused care, but that's not really going to be the thing that you really want. Those can be what we would call lead magnets. You might have heard of those. And I used to be pretty dogmatic against these, but not anymore. And reason being is because I found that they are very effective if used properly, right? And then condition-based programs, which is where you make your money. This is where all the profitability can come. And so how do we do this? Well, I have four major categories that we use inside of this process. And these are, once again, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is some things that you can do. So teaching, this is going to be a live, recorded, or curriculum-based training, or teaching your patient how to become a better patient, how to use your process better, your method, how to actually get better results, or actually how to solve the problem for themselves if it's more of a self-led problem or self-led solution. Team is going to be accountability, holding them accountable to actually showing up. For example, if they fall off and they're supposed to show up to an appointment, and you know that, okay, if they start missing appointments, the churn ratio goes through the roof. Like if they miss one, we got to get them back in and reschedule, or holding them accountable to showing up and doing the stuff. Access would be getting help, support, email, phone, text, chat, that kind of stuff. And the services is exactly what it sounds like, whether it be digital or physical services. It's, doing technology in the office, what have you, right? Or doing something digitally for them, right? Updating their meal plan or updating their supplementation in a portal, what have you. Tools, supplementation, worksheets, and calculators. Once again, these is not an exhaustive list. There's more tools, but these are some stuff that they can use on their own. It makes it easy for them to get the outcome they're looking for, or to get information that they're looking for, or to get clarity on things. Technology could be software, could be GPTs like from OpenAI. As an example, we have clients that have uploaded a lot of their documentation, their knowledge base of what they do, and maybe they have books, what have you. It allows us to produce a GPT that is reflective, that is what we call a simulacrum, right? Another digital version of themselves that helps support the patient in solving problems, especially for at-home programs that we have. A lot of our premier clients that have been with us for a while, we're developing at-home programs, but they're like, well, I can't handle all that volume. Great. Send them to a GPT and it'll answer the questions 90, 95% correct to the way you would. And then lastly, at-home devices. So things that can solve the problem while they're maybe passively or actively when they're at home. And these are ways you can solve this problem and start to bridge the gap, especially when you're looking at some of these reasons why people fall off. And so as we continue down, once you've solved that, now we want to make sure the monetization is proper, right? Revenue stacking is the model that we like to transition our clients into. Now, what do I mean by this? Revenue stacking is not a new concept, but when it comes to healthcare, I don't see a lot of practitioners doing it this way. So what do I mean by this? You take an upfront fee, and even our fees are this way. If you actually want to move forward, this is exactly our fee structure. This is how we do it. So we have a upfront onboarding fee. This solves the core problem. We're going to get into that in a second. And then you're able to use that. It's called float, able to reinvest into the business. Now, this can be experience. This can be growth. This can be on staff. Innovation, what have you, right? So you can reinvest back into the business and making it better and better and better. And then the last part is opportunity cost, because now you actually have to deliver on that experience. So this needs to be a month-to-month thing. Even our situation, we don't have long-term contracts. We have the onboarding fee that once that's paid, you can leave at any time. The reason people stay with us on average 19 months. That's across the historic, the business over 4 years, almost 4 years now, is because we have to deliver, and we do deliver on this monthly basis, right? What are we continuing to do for you that helps you stay? What makes you want to stay and pay? And so yours may not start month 2, and maybe it starts month 3. I don't know. Maybe you have a 90-day sprint, and once that 90-day sprint is done, then they start paying. It does not matter. You can figure out, we can figure that out exactly. But the point is, you're getting reoccurring revenue. What this allows you to do is each month that you start stacking revenue, I want you to think about this. Imagine you wake up on the first of the month or the second of the month or third of the month, and all your fixed expenses are paid for because you have a revenue model like this that capitalizes on this. And so how do you structure it? I'm going to show you ours, because a lot of our clients were very careful on not going, I'll do in this presentation, I'm not going to cover too much on their proprietary stuff, but what it may look like is something like this. So you have a event, a sales event, a call, something that's going to say, are you going to move forward or not? Or they're coming in office, you're doing a report of findings or not. And either they're saying yes or they're saying no. If they say no, great. They go to a product, they go to maybe an event if you're doing a workshop, or some form of long-term nurture. And then if they say yes, they go to an onboarding phase. Then for us, we do a 30-day sprint, like I showed you above, and then we launch them. We launch you. So the way that would look is the first onboarding fee and everything that comes up front is the core solution to the initial problem. Building out the growth system on the front end for you. That's all custom and to you. For you, it might be like it's a 30-day sprint or a 60-day sprint or a 90-day sprint to solve XYZ issue. Maybe it's a gut reset, Hashimoto's, autoimmune neuropathy, what have you, and it's to be a phasic process. Now, once that's done, you're going to want to move them to another stage. In our case, it's optimization, and then what we call the codex, and I'll share with you what that is below. But this solves future problems caused by the original solution, the ongoing component, right? Because once again, like I said before, I don't know what future problems you're going to have exactly, and it's going to be modular to what you need. And so what that looks like for us is we have 6 key dials: from offer, developing, proving, and pitching your patient offers, to conversion, which is building your pre-selling infrastructure, advertising, which is profitable and powerful attention, the experience, which is creating raving fan patients, team, which is all about attracting, retaining, and building and growing talent, or scale, which is productizing your fulfillment or scaling with AI. And I don't know which of these is the most interesting to you or that you need help with. And so I want to be able to cover it all so your practice can grow properly, both on the front end and the back. And so really what it comes down to is the question that people ask is, can I do this? Is it possible? Well, the main questions I have is, can you answer questions about your favorite patient? Why? Because the more you know about your favorite patients, the people you're trying to attract, the more chances we have to answer those, to get the things up above correct. The more things you know about them from a psychological perspective and a motivation perspective and the psychographics of them, it allows us to be really clear on our messaging and what they want. Can you answer questions about the worst patients so we can repel them as much as possible? Do you have something unique that you can bring to the world? Do you actually have something that we can package together? That you may be going, I don't know yet. Well, the question is your experiences and the way that you got to where you're at, is it unique? The answer is yes, but are you able or wanting to extract the uniqueness out of your out of your offer or the thing that you're currently doing. Or maybe you're like, I'm not sure how to put these things together, and it can be a unique combination. And are you open to making your offer economics work? Meaning, are you willing to raise pricing as long as it makes sense? Are you willing to adjust your monetization model like I showed you up above? If the answer is yes to those questions, then yes, you can do this. And we want to create, the outcome is we're creating an offer that's dependable, that's sturdy, with recurring revenue while feeding growth and experience. And this is what Offer is going to solve for you. So now that we're back, we've covered the system. Here's your risk to move forward. 30 to 60 minutes of your time to have a conversation with one of my team members about what this might look like for you. How would we install this in your business? How would we apply this? How would we overlay this into your business? The upside, though, is you get access to free tools. So you can see how we use tools to be able to make decisions inside of the business. We'll give you an action plan. And this action plan will tell you, hey, regardless of if you work with us or not, here's what we would do. Here's how we would take action forward in your business. Third would be a new perspective, because maybe we would see things that you are not already seeing and give you a new perspective, a new fresh look, a new fresh set of eyes, because maybe you're too close to the problem. Maybe you're too close to the business. And I have consultants and I hire companies for that exact same reason, because I'm too close to the problem and they give me a different vantage point. And let's say you decide to move forward and we do what we say, right? You say, hey, cool, we're going to help you go from point A to point B over a period of time. And that's great. And we build the things in your business that you're looking for. And from that, you unlock growth and impact. Not only do you make more money, you have more time freedom, but you also impact more patients and ultimately help more lives, help people get out of the disease and challenges that they're dealing with in their health. You achieve their desired outcome. And what that allows you to have is ultimately the business that you desire, the business of your dreams. And so look at the differences here. 30 to 60 minutes of time is your downside, is the risk, and look at all the upside. And so what I've done my best to create an asymmetric upside so it is a no-brainer to move forward, because ultimately we really want to create a situation where you feel like you're getting more than what you're putting out. And so who is this not for? I want to make this very clear. Who do I not want you to book the call? Who is it that stay away from the booking link? Here, first, if you're not willing to invest in your business, right? If you're not someone who's truly ready to invest in your business, and you know what the funny thing is, you may not even be ready to move forward with us. We don't even know if we can help you. But if you're not willing to invest in your business, regardless if you move forward with us or not, willing to take the action steps, do the work to unlock the growth that you're ultimately looking for and why you're still here at this video, then don't book the call. If you're not someone who can hold yourself accountable, or you're not willing to be consulted and held accountable to the goals that you said that you want, then don't book the call. And as well, like I said, if you're not serious about growth, don't book the call. What's the point? If you're tired kicking, you're just like, sounds cool. Don't book the call. There's no need. We'll ultimately end up probably hopping off the call quickly anyway, and you now just wasted time. And let's just not do that. Why even do that? But if you are someone who's a winner, if you're someone who is unrelenting, if you're someone who, when they get punched in the face, they go hard, you're someone who desires to be the very best, and no matter what, you want to win. See, the thing is this. No matter what program I purchased, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaches, consultants, companies, some of which had worked out, some of which didn't. And I never look to them to guarantee my success. Why? Because I know winners know that. Winners know that success is not guaranteed. What they do know is that they are the X factor and they are going to win regardless, right? If you're a winner and you just want a way to save time, energy, and effort, then I want you to book the call, right? And it still may not be right for you. It may not even be the right model for you. And we might not be able to help you. But if you're a winner, we can at least give you some frameworks and say, hey, you do these things on your own and come back when you're ready. Next, if you want to avoid wasting time and energy and even money, then yes, book the call. And lastly, if you want explosive growth in 2025, then I think this model is going to be right for you. And so if any and all of this resonates, then go and book your growth call. Book it, spend the time, hop on the call, fill out the application. That way we can see, are you a real person? Do you have a real business? Are you real, basically? And that way we can hop on, we can do some research beforehand and do a better job at jumping on that call and getting clear on understanding what you're doing. That way, when we have a conversation, if it is the right fit and we talk about doing potentially a demo of our system inside of your business overlaid on top of what you have, then we can be much more succinct in our conversation and much more effective. And so here's the decision moving forward. It's not actually to book the call. It's actually not, do I want to work with John Cameron and his team? It's not if I want to work with Etho. It's really a decision between the old way versus the new way. Really, it's this. Do you want to continue to have to justify your value versus having patients who invest, who are not bottom rung patients, who know, like, and trust you, who believe that you're the right fit? Do you want to have revenue resets at the beginning of every single month, or do you want to stack revenue every month after month, have a monthly recurring revenue model built into your business so you can protect and make yourself more durable and have a more defensible position? Do you want to have pricing competition and have to deal with the red ocean of, oh my God, I got to offer lower and cheaper stuff? Or do you want to be a market of one? Do you want to have a one-trick funnel where you're having to deal with the fact that it might break and you don't have something that can stand the test of time or be adaptive? And having an adaptive ecosystem allows you to be nimble in the marketplace, allows you to handle the fluctuations that come with market moves. Do you want to have time taxation where you're having to continue to explain the same thing over and over and over again to patients and really drain your energy? Or do you want to have leverage where you're saving on average 3,217 hours a year, 3,000 hours? That's over a year and a half of work saved from our system on average. And do you want to have a high stress environment in your business and potentially burnout and the headache that comes with that? Or do you want low stress and freedom and impact? So really the question is, do you want the old way or do you want the new way? And so what I can say is, if you want the new way and you want the future of what the new way can bring you, here's what I want you to do next. I want you to go to the next page. I want you to click the button below this video. I want you to click that button and book your call. Schedule a time with one of my team members and see if this is a good fit for you. Explore it. And it may not be the right fit, and that's fine. But I think if you've made it to the end of this video, you at least owe it to yourself to explore this for yourself and explore this for your business for 2025. And so what I can tell you is, we don't bat 1,000, right? We don't have 100% success rate. No business, I think, has 100% success rate. But what I can tell you is that we stand behind our methodology. We stand behind our model that it is the fastest path, or simplest and surest path to getting to where you would like to go, to reducing the mistakes, to having a team behind you that will help you, to having a team that will go to at bat for you, work their ass off to get you to where you would like to go, and to help you and assist you on your path to winning. Because we do need practitioners like yourself to win, so we can undo what John D. Rockefeller has set into place in 1910, so that we can heal the world, that we can make, America healthy again. And so I'm excited for the chance to meet you. I'm excited for what this might be for you in 2025. I'm excited for what growth can be unlocked using this model. So once again, my name is John Cameron Johnson, founder of Etho. Hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you on the next page and jumping into your growth in 2025. So to your success, take care.